Discover the incredible journey of the boy who inspired 12 teachers to change lives through love, in a suburban neighborhood bursting with laughter and the sweet scent of fresh cookies from the bakery down the street. 12-year-old Sam Parker felt like an outsider in a world that was slowly dimming. Just yards away, children scampered in the sun, while joyful shouts echoed as they played. But all Sam felt was the heavy weight of responsibility tugging at his small shoulders, an ache that intensified when he thought of his dad, who had lost his job. Sam's mom worked long hours, and the burden of family strife felt like a thick fog clouding his youthful spirit. "You're not good enough, Parker," the bullies at school would sneer, pushing him around at recess. But Sam just walked away, holding tighter to the paintbrush in his hand, and the pages of books filled with vibrant worlds where he could escape. His art was his refuge, a place to thrive even while storms raged around him. Beneath this turmoil, something incredible happened. The very teachers who felt disillusioned with their own struggles began to notice Sam's extraordinary heart. Mr. Thompson, a seasoned war veteran with shadows in his eyes, found himself inspired by Sam's innocent kindness to help a classmate. Meanwhile, Mrs. Carter, fresh and unsure, felt Sam's sheer resilience spur her to remain optimistic about her vocation. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Despite their efforts, an ominous specter loomed over the school. Threats to cut the art and music programs were all anyone could discuss. Sam felt the despair take root deep in his gut. How could they remove the very things that lifted spirits? Suddenly, teachers became advocates and parents rallied to save their school's creative heart. Yet, the initial attempts fell flat, leading to fraught meetings where whispers of "this is futile" mingled with heated arguments. Sam sat in the corner, listening, wrestling with doubt. Could he be the change they needed? A wave of anxiety washed over him. How could he speak out when all he felt was small and insignificant? But as he watched heated voices rise, he saw the flicker of something brighter amid the chaos. The community slowly began to join hands, mothers and fathers lending support instead of judgment, showing that their shared love for the school outweighed their differences. With division knocking at the doors, Sam stood at a crossroads. Just as hope began to bloom, a startling revelation about the school board shattered their fragile unity. Trust felt like a distant memory as the clamor around him grew into an unbearable crescendo, and Sam wondered if love truly was enough to heal. As emotions boiled over, he felt the warmth from his heart mingle with uncertainty. What would he do now? Would he find his place and find a way for everyone to embrace the hope that still existed? Or would he fade into the shadows, carrying not only his family's load but the dreams of his community too? As the days passed, Sam found himself engulfed in a wave of thoughts. He wandered the halls of the school, listening to the chatter of students and the angst of teachers, all debating what the cuts would mean for their community. The fear was palpable, hanging in the air like an impending storm. He spent his afternoon sketching, his imagination pouring onto the pages in vibrant colors, a stark contrast to the sadness swirling in his heart. He sketched his classmates as heroes, wielding paintbrushes and musical instruments like swords against the darkness that threatened to crush their creativity. Each stroke became a powerful reminder that art was more than something to be saved. It was something they had to fight for. But how could he fight? To stand up meant risking ridicule or, worse, becoming the target of the very bullies who haunted him. Despite that, he couldn't shake the feeling that something had to change, something bigger than just his own battles. The faces of his classmates flashed in his mind. Each one reflected a piece of what he cared about. That night, after dinner, Sam sat alone in his room, the glow of his desk lamp illuminating an array of sketches before him. With his heart racing, a plan began to form. If the adults weren't willing to take the stand needed to preserve the arts, perhaps the students could. Perhaps he could lead them. Sam grabbed a piece of paper and began to write. Join me for an art and music rally. He scribbled, drawing fancy borders to entice his peers. Let us show our parents and teachers why creativity matters. Even as he wrote, fear tugged at him. What if no one came? What if they laughed? The next morning, with his heart pounding, Sam folded the flyers and stuffed them in his backpack, determined to share his idea. He approached a couple of friends before school, handing each a flyer, their faces lighting up with tentative excitement. Just before class, he stood before his teacher, gathering his courage. Mrs. Carter, I'd like to propose a rally to save our art and music programs, he said, his voice trembling but clear. Her eyes widened, a surprised smile breaking through. That sounds like a wonderful idea, Sam. How can I help? The small encouragement ignited a flicker of hope in him, pushing aside some of the doubts that had clung to him. Each day, more students signed up, their spirits lifting as they envisioned a vibrant display of creativity that showcased their talents. But then came the hardest part. Sam needed to confront the school board, the very people threatening the heart of their school. Days later, the rally day arrived, the sun shining brightly as students, parents, and teachers filled the courtyard. Colorful banners fluttered in the breeze, and cheers erupted as students showcased their art and musical talents. Sam felt a swell of pride, but the shadow of anxiety still loomed over him. Standing before a small crowd, he was finally ready to speak. We shouldn't have to fight for what makes us whole, he began, his voice trembling but determined. Art, music, they're not just classes. They're the heartbeat of who we are. The moment hung in the air, every eye glued to him. Would they understand? Would his words carry the power he yearned for? And just then, a loud voice cut through the crowd, catching everyone off guard. But what do you really know about loss, Parker? Sam's heart sank, dread clawing at his stomach. Those familiar sneering voices brought back old wounds. But through the lingering doubt, an unexpected spark ignited in him. This was his moment. As whispers filled the air and the crowd shifted uncomfortably, Sam drew a deep breath. I know more than you think. But more importantly, we all know how to rise together. As the words echoed around him, he felt the weight of the past loosen its grip. Would he be able to turn the tide of this confrontation? And was it too late to unite everyone against the looming threats? Sam braced himself, the momentum of his voice fighting against the bitter sting of the familiar taunt. The crowd murmured, shifting on its feet. He could feel their eyes, curious and skeptical all at once, assessing if he would crumble under the pressure. Instead, he felt a wave of resolve wash over him. You think you know me, but you don't, he countered, surprising even himself. He locked eyes with the source of the ridicule, a boy named Alex who had made it his mission to put others down. You think art is just fluff, that music doesn't matter. But you're wrong. Art is how we express ourselves, how we dig deep and find the stories we carry inside. Connects us. The crowd fell silent, the weight of his words resonating. Sam's heart raced. He had not only drawn a line against the antagonism, he had drawn a line toward something bigger, something they could all stand behind. And just as quickly as it peaked, his courage began to wane. What if they didn't rally around him? What if Alex's laughter rang louder than his message? But Mrs. Carter stepped forward, her gentle yet firm presence a beacon in the sea of students. Sam is right. We all have a story, and art gives us a voice to share it. Let us not forget the importance of creativity in our lives. A ripple of agreement surged through the crowd. A girl at the front stepped up, her bright pink art supplies emblazoned on her shirt. I've seen the way art helps us cope with tough stuff. It's where I find hope. More voices chimed in, students sharing personal thoughts, expressing how rehearsing for the school play or painting in class helped them through hard times. Sam stood back, his heart swelling. The crowd was shifting, transforming as they embraced the message. They were becoming part of this movement, rising together against the fear that had once silenced them. Then it happened. A minute into the unexpected momentum, he spotted one of his own sketches, a whimsical dragon that he had once felt proud of hanging from a nearby fence. His insides twisted. It represented who he was, unguarded and bold. Some of us, he said, pointing to the drawing, have dreams that are big and scary. We can be dragon slayers or we can stay silent. What will it be? A loud cheer erupted, igniting a fire that surged through the crowd. Let us show the school board. Another student shouted that every dollar spent on art and music enriches our lives. In that moment, the unified desire and passion became tangible. The crowd surged forward, chanting for change while Sam stood at the front, feeling every heartbeat unify them in spirit. This was more than a rally. It was becoming a revolution. But still, amid the applause and encouragement, fear lingered. Images of the school board flashed in Sam's mind, the stern faces, the stacks of budget reports, the indifference. Are we ready? He asked the crowd, his voice catching slightly. Ready to take this fight to the school board and show them we won back down? Yes, came the roaring response, and a pulse of determination coursed through him. But his growing excitement was laced with uncertainty. Could they really conquer the looming darkness of cuts? Could they persuade those in charge to listen? With a final loud cheer, the group began to chant a slogan that echoed through the courtyard, their voices growing louder with each repetition. Save our art. Save our heart. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Sam realized they had ignited something beautiful. But just as quickly, a shadow loomed, a reminder that the fight was just beginning. The thought gripped him. What if they couldn't convince the school board? What would happen to the art programs? And what would that mean for them all? With questions racing through his mind, Sam looked out at his friends, at the faces of those he wanted to protect. Could he truly lead them forward into this battle? His heart pounded. They had taken a step, but what would come next? It was the moment of truth that awaited them all. Sam felt the excitement bubbling around him, but his heart was a storm of doubt. The chants echoed in his ears, igniting something deep within, yet fear clawed at his insides. He glanced at the crowd, friends he had laughed with, shared secrets with, and now stood shoulder to shoulder with in this fight for their dreams. They believed in him, but did he believe in himself? All right, everyone, he shouted, trying to contain the whirlwind of emotions. We need a plan. If we're going to fight for our arts programs, we need to show them how much it matters to us. Nods and shouts of agreement surged through the crowd. The energy felt contagious. It was like standing at the edge of a massive wave, ready to ride it. We need to gather stories. Every piece of art, every song practiced, every dance learned, it all counts. We'll showcase what art does for us. A chorus of voices chimed in. A group of girls off to the side started brainstorming ideas for an art showcase, while others discussed the potential of a talent show to highlight their skills. Sam's heart swelled. This was more than an event. It was a chance to show the school board who they really were. Let us meet after school. One boy shouted, raising his hand enthusiastically. We can form teams. We'll need artists, musicians, dancers, and writers. A path was beginning to form, and with it came even greater responsibility. Sam felt the weight settle on his shoulders. This wasn't just about him anymore. It was about everyone around him. They all had stories that mattered. Okay, Sam said, trying to keep his tone upbeat despite the tremor in his voice. Let us focus on organizing a real event. We need to reach out to the community too. They need to see how important art is for our school. Cheers erupted, and with each cheer, the uncertainty began to dissipate, replaced by the fire of shared purpose. As they divided into groups, Sam ended up with Emma, the girl in the front who had inspired him with her words. You truly believe in this, don't you? She asked, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. Yeah, I do. But what? She pressed, an encouraging smile spreading across her face. What if we fall short? What if the school board doesn't listen? Sam whispered, fear creeping in again. Emma stepped closer, her voice steady. Then we try again. We can't control their reaction, but we can control how we fight for what matters to us. We owe it to ourselves to try. Her words struck a chord, empowering him. Sam nodded, feeling reinvigorated. Maybe fear was just another part of the journey, something they could face together. Okay, let us do this. Let us show them our art. Let us show them our hearts. As the day progressed, they worked tirelessly, organizing plans and brainstorming ideas. The excitement in the air was electric. But even as they laughed and crafted their campaign, a gnawing worry lingered at the back of Sam's mind. The shadows of doubt returned as he considered the school board meeting approaching faster than ever. Time slipped away too quickly, and before long it was late afternoon. They all gathered near the fountain that marked the center of the school's courtyard. Sam's heart raced again as he held their attention. Tomorrow we will take our voices to the school board. But it won't be easy, he warned, his tone growing serious. They don't always see what we see. They might push back or even dismiss us. We need to be ready for that. Emma stepped forward, her voice firm. But we'll stand together. No matter what, we won't back down. The resolve in the crowd bolstered Sam's confidence. But the gnawing sensation returned, reminding him that the real test was still ahead. He took a deep breath, relishing the fragile hope surrounding him. Let us get our stories ready, and let us be fearless. Tomorrow could change everything. As he spoke, he noticed a flicker of doubt in a few faces, a reminder of the fear that hung thick in the air. Would they truly find the courage to face the board? Would their message resonate? But then he saw Emma's encouraging smile, and the whisper of hope ignited once more within him. With a final nod, Sam wrapped up the gathering close. Their group huddled in one solid ring of strength. Let us do this, Sam declared, raising his fist. For art, for us. As they cheered, the sun dipped lower, casting long shadows against the fading light. But Sam's heart raced with the promise of tomorrow. What awaited them, he wondered. Would they find victory or defeat? The uncertainty loomed, waiting to unfold. The dawn broke timidly, as if the world held its breath in anticipation of what was to come. Sam woke up with a jolt, the vibrant chatter of his friends echoing in his mind. He could almost hear the crackle of excitement, mixed with threads of anxiety weaving through his thoughts. Today mattered. Today would define them. As he hurriedly dressed, each movement felt charged with purpose. He made his way down the stairs, his parents already engaged in their morning routine. They exchanged nods and smiles, their warmth enveloping him like a protective cloak. For a fleeting moment, he felt invincible. But as he glanced at the clock, anxiety crept back in, chipping away at his fleeting confidence. Hey, buddy, you ready for today? His dad asked, flipping pancakes with a bright smile. The aroma brought back memories of family breakfasts filled with laughter. Yeah, I am, I think, Sam replied, swallowing hard. You think? His mom chimed in, wiping her hands on a towel. Remember, it's not just about how you feel. It's about how hard you believe. Her words sank deep, momentarily quieting his anxiety. Thanks, Mom. I'll definitely give it my all. The journey to school felt like an eternity. Each street passed was a countdown to the potential tension ahead. Sam couldn't shake the way his stomach twisted, a reflection of the eagerness and dread mixing into a chaotic blend. As he approached the school, he felt a collective energy humming in the air, palpable and delicate. Students gathered in the courtyard, voices melding into a tapestry of emotion. He spotted Emma, her eyes wide with anticipation, and that sight filled him with courage. They exchanged determined nods, each expressing a silent promise. Once inside the school, they gathered in the auditorium, finding their seats. Sam's heart thundered in his chest as the room filled. The familiar faces of classmates surrounding him felt both comforting and daunting. This was it. The moment they had prepared for was almost here. The moment the school board members entered was electric, a mix of excitement and fear crackling through the air. Sam watched as they adjusted their glasses and flipped through papers, oblivious to the storm of passion brewing in front of them. He exchanged glances with Emma, whose encouraging smile ignited a flicker of hope. When their turn to speak finally came, Sam stood up, his nerves bubbling over. One by one, students shared their stories of joy intertwined with hardship, creativity born from chaos, and dreams blossoming against all odds. Each narrative was a brushstroke painting the significance of the arts, painting their very essence. As Sam approached the microphone, his palms felt clammy, but he took a deep breath, envisioning all the effort they had put into this moment. Art is not just what we do, it's a part of us. It shapes our identities, nourishes dreams, and connects us. Like the colors in a painting, we are all unique, yet together we create something beautiful. His voice wavered but grew stronger with each word. The auditorium fell silent, listeners leaning forward, connected to the emotion in his voice. Then a hush fell over the crowd like a deep breath, and Sam could see the glimmer of understanding lighting in the eyes of the board members. But just as hope began to swell within him, an unexpected expression crossed one of their faces, a look of skepticism. Interesting points, one board member said slowly, but how do we justify the cost? This school has limited resources. A chill washed over him, the vulnerability of their mission crashing against the wall of reality. The air thickened, tension rising as murmurs floated like echoes among students. Sam's heart sank for a moment, but he quickly glanced at Emma, who nodded encouragingly, reminding him they had no option but to fight back. Could they counter this doubt? Did they have enough strength to push back against the skepticism? The struggle was looming, and the words ready to stem from his heart. Then he caught sight of the school's art display against the back wall, an array of paintings and sculptures showcasing the collective spirit of creativity. Inspiration flooded him anew. "Wait, I'm not done," Sam called out, voice steadying. "Let me show you. Let us show you what we can create together." He paused, leaving the air taut with anticipation. A brave step forward in their journey. What would they unveil next? Could this pivotal moment sway the board? As the words hung in the air, Sam felt a ripple of energy shift among his friends. Faces that had once been filled with uncertainty now gleamed with hope. He could sense it, an invisible string tying them together, pulling them toward a shared goal. This was more than a presentation. This was their very essence on the line. "Imagine walking through the halls of this school," Sam continued, "and seeing the impact of our passions everywhere. Art isn't just something we do in class. It embodies our dreams. It can inspire the next generation to believe in themselves, to find joy in expression." He could feel heat radiating from the audience, eyes wide, hearts beating in sync with him. Emma smiled brightly, her spirit a beacon lighting his path. Breathing deeply, he took another step closer to the microphone, willing himself to dig deeper. What if we had community art projects? Workshops that bring in local artists? A space where students can collaborate freely, share their stories, dive into the depths of their creativity? Each word seemed to ignite a spark, not just within him but throughout the room. They were starting to see his vision. One board member furrowed his brow, still skeptical but leaning in a little closer. Sam felt encouraged. He was reaching them little by little. It's more than just art. It's about giving students a voice. We need to invest in what makes us whole, that's our shared humanity. The murmurs were fading, replaced by a silence that buzzed with anticipation. Fear melted into determination as Sam poured everything he had into this moment. His heart raced, not from anxiety but from the thrill of rallying his peers. Let us show them we're not just faces in a crowd. We're creators, innovators, and changemakers. A wave of applause suddenly erupted behind him. Sam turned to see his classmates standing, clapping, voices raised in unity. Each cheer was a testament to their shared journey, an affirmation of every struggle and every ounce of creativity they had poured into this cause. "Sam," Emma called out, raising her hand, "we made a video. Can we show it? It highlights our art classes and the impact they've had." "Yes," he shouted, the adrenaline sending new sparks of energy through him. "Show them everything. Show them who we are." The excitement was palpable. As the video played, scenes unfolded of students painting murals, crafting sculptures, dancing, playing instruments, all captured moments of joy, vulnerability, and community. Reactions flickered across the board members' faces, curiosity dancing with surprise. Sam's chest swelled as he watched their expressions change, just as his friends had. He could see it little by little. The walls of skepticism were softening, cracking under the weight of their passion. When the video ended, there was a moment's hush followed by joyous applause erupting once more. Students were standing, clapping, some shouting out words of encouragement. Their spirit echoed across that auditorium, lifting everyone present. One board member, an older woman with kind eyes, stood up. That was impressive, by all means. But how can we ensure this isn't just a fleeting moment? Sam felt the weight of her question sink into him. A challenge, a call to action. We can create a committee, he suggested, feeling that surge of courage bubbling up once again. Students and faculty working together to develop programs. We'll establish a routine of feedback, keep evolving. We won't just leave it to chance. A collective nod spread through the room. Ideas blossomed in everyday conversations, students discussing what they'd like to see, how they could contribute. As the board members deliberated, Sam caught Emma's eye. There was a shared spark there, a silent agreement that they were in this together no matter the outcome. Would their relentless passion be enough? What would the board decide? Each heartbeat felt like a countdown to the next moment. Sam could only hope they would emerge victorious. Sam's breath hitched in his throat as he waited, heart pounding in his chest. The auditorium was electric with anticipation. The board members, hushed, exchanged glances that felt like they could shift the fate of everything Sam and his friends had fought for. Let us take a moment. The older woman continued, her voice steady and thoughtful. The proposal you've laid out is compelling, but we need to discuss logistics and funding. A murmur rippled through the audience, a mix of hope and anxiety. Emma squeezed Sam's hand. He felt the warmth of her support grounding him amidst the swirling emotions. We can brainstorm ways to fund projects, a student shouted from the back, rallying support. We could organize art shows or community fairs. Yes, Sam exclaimed, inspiration lighting a fire in his veins. We can reach out to local businesses for sponsorships. They would see the value of investing in our community's youth. Not just for us, but for them too. A thriving creative space benefits everyone. More voices joined in, chiming with ideas, excitement building once again. Sam smiled, invigorated by the collective wave of inspiration. They were creating a sense of possibility, of unity, a tapestry woven from dreams and determination. But as the board members leaned closer together, doubt flickered in Sam's heart. Would they really see the potential in this proposal? Would they truly take the plunge and support their vision? The silence stretched, thick with tension. Just then, a younger board member with sandy hair spoke up. I think what you're suggesting is essential to our school's culture. Art nurtures creativity, yes, but it also fosters community spirit. We owe it to our students to cultivate that. The suggestion sat in the air, cradled by a new kind of energy. Sam felt hope flicker like a candle's flame, flickering but persistent. Could we arrange for follow-up meetings? Another board member asked, raising his gaze from the table, to see how initiatives are developing. It could ensure this is more than just one project, it could lead to a lasting impact. Yes, Sam said again, his voice stronger this time. We need to make these spaces part of our everyday lives, not just an event. Art integrated into every aspect of our school. One of the teachers in the audience stood up, a middle-aged man with a kind demeanor. You guys have worked hard for this. I want to lend my support too. I can help with facilitating workshops and finding guest artists. A chorus of cheers erupted from the audience, a visible wave of excitement washing over them. The passion that had begun as a simmering hope now felt like a full-blown eruption of energy, leaping from heart to heart. But Sam sensed a lingering edge of apprehension. What if their enthusiasm wasn't enough? As the board wrapped up the discussion, another curveball came. Let us take a vote on your committee tomorrow, the older woman finally decreed. If we move forward, it'll take commitment from everyone involved. The moment felt monumental. Sam's heart leaped, a blend of joy and fear swirling inside him. Would they really get that chance? As the applause faded, Sam exchanged glances with Emma, whose eyes were filled with hope and uncertainty. They both knew that the real work was just beginning. "Whatever happens," Sam said softly, feeling connected, "we've made our mark tonight." Emma nodded, her expression turning serious. "But what if we lose? What if all this effort doesn't lead anywhere?" Sam took a deep breath. "Then we'll just have to fight harder. We didn't get this far to stop now." They held each other's gazes, strength pouring between them. As they walked out of the auditorium, thrill buzzed in the air, but an underlying question tugged at the edges of Sam's mind. Would their fire be enough to ignite lasting change? Or faced with a setback, would they find themselves doubting everything they had championed? Only tomorrow would tell. The morning sun poured through the classroom windows, casting bright beams across the desks. Sam tapped his fingers nervously on the table as he waited for the first bell to ring. He couldn't shake the excitement that buzzed in the air, mingling with his fear. Today was more than just another school day. It was the day the board would decide his proposal's fate. Emma sat beside him, her presence a comforting anchor. "No matter what happens, I'm proud of us," she said, her voice a warm whisper that cut through the tension. Sam nodded, but the doubt lingered in his mind. Was pride enough to carry them through the uncertainty? As the bell rang, students flooded the hallway, laughter and chatter creating a vibrant symphony. Sam took a deep breath, imagining their faces realizing the significance of the meeting, how their voices would echo in the boardroom later. It wasn't just a vote. It was a chance for something incredible to manifest. As Sam wove through the crowd, he spotted Mr. Thompson, the middle-aged teacher who had pledged his support. Sam approached him, heart pounding. "Do you really think the board will agree to our proposal?" he asked, trying to read the man's expression. Mr. Thompson smiled, a knowing twinkle in his eye. "If they don't see the value in what you've created, they'll be missing out on a golden opportunity. You've rallied this community behind you, Sam. That counts for so much." His words filled Sam with a boost of confidence. They had started a movement, a wave of change. But as he walked to his next class, another thought slipped in. What if this wave met resistance? What if everything fell apart? Throughout the day, Sam found himself tapping into the energy around him. In art class, he watched as his classmates painted their visions of the future, brushes dancing over canvases in a colorful spectacle of hope. It felt like a preview of what could unfold, a community thriving in creativity, shared by all. Once the last class ended, the group gathered at their usual spot in the library. New ideas buzzed around the table, each suggestion bolder than the last. Sam noticed a little girl choosing vibrant colors for her project in the corner and beamed with pride. This was for her and for everyone like her. Their voices fused in an unbreakable bond. "Let us make our voices louder. We can fill the auditorium with support," a friend suggested. Laughter mingled with purpose as they exchanged ideas, their determination shining brightly. But as the clock ticked down, anxiety crept back in. When they finally made their way to the boardroom, silence wrapped around them. Sam looked at Emma, her fingers intertwining with his. The doors creaked open, revealing the board members seated at their stark table, expressions unreadable. As they entered the room, Sam felt the weight of expectation. The board members turned, and an almost tangible silence filled the space as they awaited the conversation to unfold. The older woman's voice broke the tension. "Are you all ready to present today? We're eager to hear the full picture," she noted, her tone professional, but Sam sensed a flicker of warmth behind it. In a moment that felt suspended in time, Sam stepped forward. For all their hopes, their dreams, and all the build-up, the weight of the moment hung thick in the air. He cleared his throat, and his voice emerged stronger than he felt. "We're here to share a vision, a chance to embrace creativity, and make our school a beacon of inspiration." With that, his heart raced anew. Would they be seen? Would they be heard? The board's eyes flickered as Sam spoke. Voices from the past echoed in his mind, his friends, the students, all those whose hopes rested on his shoulders. With each word, he painted a future that sparkled with opportunity. But the final moment approached, the pivotal moment where decisions would be made. As he concluded, he noticed the board members exchanging glances. A blend of hope and anxiety coiled within him, igniting questions in his mind. What were they thinking? Would they embrace this vision or turn it away? The heart of the auditorium held its collective breath, waiting for its fate to unfold. Sam realized that no matter how it ended, they had already sparked a conversation. But was it enough? Did he have faith they would choose to believe? As the board leaned in to speak, Sam knew one truth. This was just the beginning. The chair creaked as the board chairperson leaned forward, her eyes flicking between Sam and the gathered students. "Thank you for that passionate presentation, Sam," she began, her voice steady yet warm. "It's clear your proposal comes from a place of genuine care for your fellow students." Sam held his breath, searching her gaze for any hint of agreement. "We appreciate the community support and the ideas you've brought to the table." She paused, and the silence felt like an eternity. "However, we have some concerns about funding and implementation." A chill spiked through Sam. He glanced at Emma, whose worry mirrored his own. The nervous energy in the boardroom shifted, eyes narrowing as they began discussing logistics, budgets, and the realities of school policies. Sam tried to tune into their words but found the voices blending into a haze. "We simply can't divert resources at this time," one board member argued. "It's not that we don't agree with the vision, it's just too ambitious." Another member, an older gentleman with kind eyes, shook his head gently. "But isn't it worth it to inspire students? We can find ways to make this happen. Perhaps a phased approach?" Sam's heart thudded as he sensed a flicker of hope. Could they really help him reshape his dream? After a few more minutes of back and forth, the chairperson tapped her pen on the table, turning the conversation again. "I think we need to consider the voices of those who will be affected most by this. A community's worth cannot be measured solely by budgets." The words were like a hand reaching out in the dark. Sam felt a spark ignite inside him. Was there still a chance to convince them? He knew he couldn't lose momentum now. "Maybe we could think of hosting an event," he suggested, desperation laced with determination in his voice. "A showcase of our project ideas, invite the community. They can see why this matters firsthand. Could help build support." The board members exchanged glances, and the chairperson nodded slowly. "That's a good idea, Sam. It could give us the assurance we need about community backing." Time slipped away as they discussed arrangements. A flicker of excitement danced in Sam's chest. This wasn't the end, it was another beginning. A chance to rally that support they desperately needed. Afterward, as they walked out of the boardroom, Sam felt lighter. Though they hadn't fully approved the project, he sensed momentum shifting. Emma squeezed his hand, and for a moment, they were two scared kids on a journey, leaning into the unknown. "What if they don't like it?" Sam's voice was small, but Emma shook her head with a spark of conviction. "Well, they don't get to decide yet. We're going to show them why this matters." Sam nodded, feeling a renewed sense of hope. It was still uncertain, but that did not mean despair. It meant a chance to fight, to inspire more, to grow. As they left the school that day, Sam overheard some students discussing their rallying ideas sparked by his words. A wave of warmth filled him. They weren't just participants. They were artists of change, shaping their lives together, one brushstroke at a time. Then, just as they reached the parking lot, Sam received a text from Mr. Thompson. "Don't underestimate the power of a single voice. Together we can create a chorus." Sam felt a shiver of understanding wash over him. Their fight was not just for a proposal. It was for a unity that could shift the very fabric of their community. As he looked at Emma, the light of the setting sun danced in her eyes. "This isn't over," he murmured with determination. "It's about turning our fears into action. By the end of this will be the change we want to see." But deep within him, a question echoed: how far down this road were they willing to go? Would the chorus of voices they hoped to inspire resonate strongly enough to break through the heavy silence of doubt that loomed ahead? The sun rose brightly over the suburban neighborhood, casting warm beams of optimism into every corner. Sam Parker stood outside the school, feeling that familiar flutter of nervous energy. But this time it was mixed with determination. Today was the day they would showcase their collective vision for the arts, a chance to turn hope into reality. Emma walked beside him, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Are you ready?" she asked, her voice filled with supportive certainty. "More than ever," Sam replied, grinning. The memory of their journey flooded through him, the rally, the moments of doubt, and the joy of rallying their friends together. Gathered in the auditorium, the energy buzzed like a live wire. Students, parents, and teachers filled the seats, eager to witness how Sam's vision would come to life. Colorful banners decorated the walls, and the scent of popcorn wafted through the air, transforming the space into a celebration. As he stepped onto the stage, Sam felt his heart race. The board members sat in the front row, their expressions a mix of curiosity and skepticism. He took a deep breath, grounding himself. "Welcome, everyone. Today, we're here to show you why art and music aren't just classes, they're vital pieces of who we are. They tell our stories." Cheers erupted from the crowd, the applause wrapping around him like a warm hug. It felt like their voices were joining in a powerful symphony of support, resonating through the very walls. With a wave of excitement, Sam introduced the first act, a group of students who had formed a band. As they played, the room filled with music that wasn't just notes, but emotion. Each chord struck a deep chord in everyone's hearts. Sam closed his eyes and felt the rhythm echoing in his soul. Next came the art showcase. Students displayed vibrant paintings, sculptures, and photography. Each piece embodied unique stories, dreams, and struggles, a vivid tapestry of creativity that had emerged from their challenges. And then, Emma stepped forward to present. "This is not only about what we create in the classroom. It's about building community, about coming together and supporting each other through everything," she spoke passionately. "We want to show you the power of what happens when we unite." Sam looked out at the crowd, seeing their expressions shift, minds opening, hearts shifting. It was like magic, the way art had the power to bridge gaps and build connections. As the presentation closed, parents and students were buzzing with excitement, discussing volunteer opportunities and ideas for future collaboration. Sam felt a swell of pride. They had done it, they had transformed their fears into something beautiful. Then the board members took the stage, and a hush fell over the room. The chairperson cleared her throat. "We've heard your voices, seen your creativity and commitment. We acknowledge the necessity of these programs in our community." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the audience. Sam felt his breath catch. "While we cannot commit to everything today," she continued, "we are ready to embark on a trial program for the arts, beginning next semester. This will include at least 3 new classes, and we will explore community funding options." The words landed like fireworks in the auditorium. Cheers erupted, people stood in applause, and Sam's heart soared. Emma turned to him, tears shimmering in her eyes. "We did it. We really did it," she shouted over the noise, her joy infectious. As the celebration continued, Sam reflected on just how far they had come. From feeling like an outsider to standing in front of his community with his heart on display. He had grown taller in spirit. The love and support surrounding him felt like a shield against any future doubts. Moments of fear or insecurity were now tempered with the strength of unity and purpose. As they packed up the showcasing remnants, Sam found Mr. Thompson waiting. "You rallied a community today," he said, pride shining in his eyes. "Remember this moment. You are capable of so much more than you know." Sam beamed, feeling the weight of his journey transformed into a sense of victory. None of this would have happened without everyone coming together. Together, they had created a movement not just to save the arts, but to embrace community, care, and support. Sam fixed his gaze on the setting sun, feeling invigorated by the promise of new beginnings. Questions about the future no longer filled him with dread. Instead, a realization blossomed deep within. They could keep creating, moving forward, and transforming their community through compassion and creativity. As the last light faded, he turned to Emma and the others who fought beside him. "This is just the start. Let us keep making our voices heard." And cheers erupted once again, echoing through the evening air. Now was the time to build on the momentum they had created, to elevate every story, every brushstroke, and every note into something beyond just creativity. It was a collective heartbeat. And as the stars began to twinkle above, Sam knew they would never again fade into the shadows. They were a chorus now, one that would resonate for years to come. So let us keep that fire alive. If you loved this transformation, you need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like right away to feed the algorithm and keep this energy flowing. And comment below with your reactions. How has this journey inspired you? Don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how we can all stand together for what matters. Stand proud, my friends, and let us create more change together.